This is a Clouds weather alert.
Meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center on this Wednesday afternoon, tracking a dangerous storm in, of all places, really southeast Georgia. I know our focus had been on central Florida and parts of north central Florida, northeast Florida, but this rogue storm has really been going up into Wayne County, just outside of our area where golf ball size hail was reported along Highway 341 in Wayne County there, where we even had some windshield acts in there in terms of a vehicle starting to see some of that crack on it. So again, just got to be really careful here with this storm on Everett right now. It's just starting to move into the worst of it here, closer toward Everett in our far northern reaches of our southeastern Georgia viewing zone. So again, a severe thunderstorm warning, a dangerous storm here around Everett. We're starting to get some of these heavier shades here on our screen, indicative of larger hail sizes. So again, you can see here our color table is showing just a really nasty situation. The worst hasn't got there yet in Glynn County, but they're starting to get some larger hail sizes, it looks like there. And just starting to inch into water areas, so you got to really be careful with this there. Really do not want to be caught outside in a hailstorm. I know you weren't even under a formal risk of severe weather up there with the latest outlook that was in from the Storm Prediction Center versus that much higher risk towards central Florida. But unfortunately, this storm really just is renegade. It has a mind of its own here, and you really got to be taking this seriously here. So let's go to another situation view here right now. Let's go ahead and see that. You can kind of see here it's still in 1.85 intel. The worst of that just centered there in Wayne County, but it's really just starting to get into toward those areas of Glynn County there. Around Everett. So again, we don't generally come on for these more rural zones here when we have stuff developing with a severe thunderstorm when it's really just kind of isolated like this, but it has higher damage potential. We know it's causing damage here. It has caused damage just outside of the viewing area. So again, it was in Wayne County where we got that report just a little while ago, where hail was upward of 1.75 inches in diameter, so golf ball size. And again, I started to see a vehicle's windshield crack. So again, that's not what you want to hear, folks. And this is moving into water area. Again, we cover 62 counties here predominantly. Of course, we cover national stories, Florida stories as needed. But again, just in terms of our coverage map here, you see Glynn County and Wayne is not noted on there because it's outside of our area, but Glynn is within our 62 counties, and this is a dangerous situation right now for folks around Everett. Again, just moving into the area now, we have hail that could be upward of about 1.5 inches, maybe even closer to 2 inches in diameter, moving in toward the Everett community. So I know many of you, including me, not that familiar with Everett here within our coverage area. We don't generally talk about you guys, but it is within our 62 counties, and we're very concerned right now that this could be hail that could be big enough to crack some windshields at least. Maybe not completely bust them out, but I mean, you're hearing reports out of Wayne County, and now this is starting to just move in toward our 62 counties now. Again, very concerning hail. I mean, the biggest hail up around Mount Pleasant Road in Wayne County, where we're starting to get hail that's probably over 1 inch in size there. As we get over toward, it looks like some of these roads don't want to sew up, but Wishbone Road there, maybe getting hail over 1 inch in diameter. So again, a dangerous situation in southeastern Georgia. I know that's not where the focus was today at all. Completely the opposite, really, of where our focus was. I mean, I know last time we had some stuff outside the thunderstorm risk. There is a thunderstorm risk up there and across all of our area, but you see a 3 out of 5 risk. Our watch is down to the south. And for what it's worth, I know we were going to be talking about the Florida stories as we are able to here within our coverage of local concerns that are focusing within our region. But you can see we do have a significant storm now in Brevard County. This is there northwest of Melbourne. We're seeing hail that could be over 2 inches in diameter there. That really exploded quickly. So golf ball size hail at least, but maybe a little bit larger than that even there toward portions of central Florida. So again, a nasty situation. There's a severe thunderstorm watch in play for this area as we're looking later on into the timeline. You can see that pink shaded area. It does include 4 of our counties, Alachua, Putnam, Flagler, Marion. We thought that's where the accident would really kind of cluster to, but unfortunately this one storm is all by itself. It's discrete, it's renegade, and it's taking advantage of the available parameters here. I mean, it's not impossible that this could hold together further down into Glynn County and kind of impact maybe I-95 eventually. I mean, we'll just have to continue to watch things. Maybe Camden, we'll see. But again, a dangerous situation right now that's warranting special coverage here in the parts of our area, in the parts of Glynn County. The warning also includes Wayne, but that's outside of our area. But now the worst of the hail our product is now showing is just moving in toward Glynn County here. Very rural. Again, we generally aren't going to be on for stuff up here unless it's a tornado warning or something like this. It's more serious because it's a rural zone in general. But this is a dangerous storm here. We're seeing hail that could be closer to 2 inches in diameter according to our latest scan here. Again, the worst of that may be just moving in toward Glynn County. So a very dangerous situation. You do not want to be caught outside. You got to put yourself first before you put your property there in that line there of priorities. But again, we just want to be really being careful here. I mean, if you have time down in the south and east here, which you would as we get maybe towards Sterling and Thalman, just in that region here, we're not exactly certain the trajectory this is going to take, but maybe closer to Thalman. But you want to go ahead. You might have a little bit of time there, really, to get that car in a better spot if you have one available. I mean, do not park under overpasses there, things like that. Do not park there in a spot that would be slowing up traffic. But otherwise, if you're able to protect your car, then you still have a little bit of time toward Thalman. They're not a lot, but a little bit of time with this warning and put about 3:30. I know the Weather Service in Melbourne is calling the storm in Brevard County now a monster storm. That's the wording the meteorologist is using there here in the chat session. So again, we're talking about hail over 2 inches. Could be moving toward Melbourne over the next little bit. So Palm Bay, Melbourne, Satellite Beach, Malabar, and India Atlantic there under this threat. India Atlantic there. Under this threat, as I try to pronounce that, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that a little bit. But again, we're just going to go ahead and be very mindful that this storm could be very dangerous way outside of our area, but it's still a big storm in the state of Florida. You see a storm just outside of Marion that's looking like it wants to go severe there. That's in the worst parts of, it looks like Lake County there. Now, they had a different portion of Lake County really impacted by a destructive storm yesterday that we were breaking in for. But this right here is in parts of our viewing area, and this is a severe thunderstorm warning for northwestern Glynn and southeastern Wayne until 3:30. At 2:58, a severe thunderstorm is located near Everett or 9 miles southeast of Gardy, moving southeast of about 15 miles an hour. So ping pong ball-sized hail, 60-mile-an-hour wind gust. Everett, Thalman, and Mount Pleasant here under this threat. So again, we're checking some different information behind the scenes, so bear with me here. I just wanted to give you guys the latest information. Just wanting to give you guys the latest information here, and it's a one-man band, so there's some different things we have to check here when we're behind the scenes to try to make sure we're not missing something. So again, you might hear me doing some different things here with our other system in the back, but again, you have this very dangerous storm. You can see how we had hail maybe over 2 inches there on radar, at least closer toward Grangerville. Again, that's outside of our area. That was in toward Wayne County there, but now this is moving in toward our coverage zone and in toward parts of Glynn County, which is part of the Jacksonville DMA, not the Savannah DMA, which I believe Wayne is a part of. It's not in our area, but this is right here is now moving in toward the Jacksonville responsibility area, the TV market, and in our covered area, which sometimes differs a little bit, but it includes all the Jacksonville TV market counties here, and Glynn County is a part of that. So we're very concerned. This is not Brunswick yet. Brunswick is to the south, but again, we're talking about a dangerous storm here in parts of Glynn County. You do not need to be driving here as we're looking there. The worst of this may be near, if not just a little west of US 25 here. Let's get back to street level map, and you saw that go up a little, by the way, on that scan, but we're talking about hail that could be closer to baseball size. I know if you saw me last night, I was demonstrating some of those hail sizes with some examples I had from Texas from about 25 years ago that have been preserved in wax. That's kind of interesting there. But in this situation, it's not a tornado situation right now, but it's a very nasty hail situation. I would not be surprised if we're seeing baseball-sized hail here in parts of the Jacksonville television market in southeast Georgia. Again, that was not where the focus was supposed to be today, but the weather just has a way of kind of changing around on you and not forecasting really exactly what it's going to be doing here. The models aren't going to forecast exactly what it's going to be doing. So, again, some of these roads aren't showing up, but still some very large hail possibility, maybe closer to baseball size. Again, we're talking about portions of Glynn County, Georgia. Let me go ahead and look here. It's pretty rural, but for the time being. But again, this is a dangerous storm, one of the worst hail-producing storms I've seen in the Jacksonville TV market, it looks like, in a long time. So I know there's not a lot of people out here, but if somebody's underneath this storm, I know correlation coefficient, maybe you're not going to pick them on that great, but this is a very dangerous storm. Our system is showing this could be hail to apple size here, folks. Again, this is very serious stuff in Glynn County. I know Melbourne office really concerned as well about their storm outside of our area. It's not moving in our area. I'll talk about it in a moment. But our system is also in 2.36 on our more conservative type of hail estimates. So that's definitely concerning to get a hail estimate like that within our system that sometimes kind of is about right in line with what happens. So our other system sometimes has a tendency to overdo it, but this is now showing a hail Roy pickup in Glynn County. Again, this is a very dangerous situation here, just in the word Glynn County. This could be starting to crack, if not maybe on the verge of busting out some windshields here. If it's not necessarily called a disruptive storm, I don't want to say it's actually busting out. And the report earlier was that it started to crack a windshield there in Wayne County. Again, a very serious situation. We were not really talking about this area. This was not into the risk area, but you just have to sometimes know when we have some severe potential around, then things are just maybe stuff that you need to really watch here. Really on that a more regional level, despite what maybe the forecasters saying here. It's just good to always stay tuned for the latest. You see a hail-producing storm possibly north of Folkestone. That's only about a ½ inch in diameter for now, but that could strengthen. We'll watch that. Of course, this storm here, just outside of the area, but in this one here, they're really concerned about the Holly Fish Camp there. It looks like Camp Holly Fish Camp there. So let's go ahead and zoom in tight. So again, not what you want to see down here in Brevard County, or at least golf ball size hail could be falling, but this could also be closer there toward baseball size, somewhere between golf and baseball size, which definitely can do damage. I know this is near the interstate as well, so I-95 down there in Brevard County, a dangerous situation for those folks with that rogue storm. And there's now severe thunderstorm warning for Seminole and Volusia counties until 4. That's this storm here. Just getting a warning, it'll pop up right now in our system, and they're tracking that off toward, it looks like the office in Melbourne, southeast at 25 miles an hour. But again, this rogue storm in portions of our area is very concerning here around Everett. We gotta get you guys in shelter. I mean, you treat it like a tornado situation in some regards. Now, I would say you don't necessarily need to just get to that center of the home, but you need to be away from windows. That's the important thing, because this hail could be big enough to crack those windows here. Maybe even if the winds are pushing strong enough, we have that wind potential of 60 in here. This, in theory, could be strong enough to drive that hail into those windows. So it's not going to total a home, but it could do significant damage to a home. So, again, keep that in mind. You could, if you're by a window, you could be in a life-threatening situation right now here. I mean, if you're in the center of the house, or even just, maybe one room away from the window, you might be all right. But my point being is this is still dangerous stuff. But it's not a tornado situation right now there. We'll keep watching it, though. I'm going to zoom out some because I want to take you to Texas real quick, because believe it or not, we have a significant tornado risk out there. I'm going to put our tornado risk product on here right at this point. And you can see we have a significant threat for maybe tornadoes, maybe even some stronger tornadoes, especially that are from about Dallas to the south or Waco there. There's some indications that that threat could be getting pushed more toward Hillsborough there and Waco, that region. We'll just have to wait and see. And not what you want to see for those communities, though. As you see, our STP values, our tornado parameters are pretty high. So that's a big national story. We'll keep watching that. I know we're kind of early here in the overall threat for our area. Our storms here in Florida have not really gotten there to be too concerning in our viewing circle, but toward the south, there's a warning for Lake Seminole and Volusia until about 4 o'clock. So that's the storyline. It does clip, obviously, with where it's at now. It does include portions of Lake County there. So I know, just make sure we give you guys the latest. And then the Melbourne office, obviously we're talking about Melbourne, it's right in here, folks. And guess what's headed their way? This hailstorm, and they're saying they're already getting dime-sized hail, but that's probably going to pick up depending on exactly where the office is there in the Melbourne area. So again, we have this storm doing our viewing circle right now. I still seeing it hailed about 1.5 inches in diameter here in toward parts of Glynn County. That just came down to about 1 inch, so maybe it's starting to weaken some. I mean, I say that, and our other system doesn't really suggest that. We're actually starting to see just a little bit of rotation here. We're getting our rotation, excuse me, let me try that again. Our rotation source here to show a situation that might be one where it's starting to rotate a little bit more, which could be something to watch here. Supercells, even if they're not necessarily apt to rotate, they could end up being a concern here for tornadic production eventually in the right around parameter space. So again, you can see here we're talking about hail. This is more like 1.5 inches. I mean, our blacks are still showing up here. So I mean, I still would say 1.5 inches. I mean, it's possible. That's what the warning's officially for, ping pong ball size hail. But it does seem like it's come down a little bit. But we still got to be watching. It's still severe. Based on our indications that we're getting on the Doppler radar scans right now. That other storm around Folkestone's close to needing a warning probably. So let's go down there now. Let's go down there. Yeah, that's probably going to need a warning here really soon. You can see there we're getting that near Lloyd Lane. We just have this pattern here. We have the cold air aloft, and this setup is really promoting the hail potential. Don't see much wind with that, but that could need to stay hail type of warning there with inside hail possibility there in Charlton County. So again, we need to be paying attention there. Back up toward the north, you can see again we're watching parts of Glynn County here. A dangerous storm right now. I'm checking some things behind the scenes, so just bear with me here in the Weather Center. Don't see any questions right now, but again, we'll just continue to check some things here while we're behind the scenes as we try to give you the latest to protect you, your friends, and your family. Again, just trying to make sure we're letting you guys know exactly what is happening here. Again, right now around, it looks like here, some pretty rural roads is where this is impacting. They're not really popping up, even though they do show up as erosion on our system, which is good news, obviously. But still, this storm has had a really nasty look to it. And the setup today, even if this wasn't really the focused area here, for the biggest potential. It's the area that we're getting enough of the parameters to come together to become a threat for some larger hail. So that's just concerning. I know we actually have a significant advisory way in the Panhandle now for portions of Washington County. I know it's have a severe threat tomorrow as the storm system from the west will be coming in, and that could be something to watch here, maybe even for a tornado watch for portions of our western counties tomorrow. So a lot of different things going on here in the Weather Center in terms of threats that we're watching, systems that we're tracking. Yes, to see that storm there up towards Savannah. They're seeing maybe hail to quarter size of possibility and 60-mile-an-hour winds there with that storm and that thunderstorm warning for Chatham County. This one here, hail threat looks to be coming down some, but we got to keep watching it. That's what we're on. This one right here is still in a hail potential, maybe trying to come up some near Folkestone. May need a warning, unfortunately, pretty soon. And then you have this storm just outside of the viewing area. It's moving away. Southeast at 25. Seminole Lake and Volusia, Deltona, DeLand, Orange City, Lake Helen, and Paisley under that warning till 4 o'clock. And then you can see here, this storm here has now hailed to 2.5 inches according to radar. It may not be that big, but they're calling this a considerable threat, at least at the Weather Service in Melbourne. Palm Bay, Melbourne, Satellite Beach, Malabar. You just gotta really be careful in the Atlantic as well. So people and animals outside could be injured. Expect hail damage to roofs, side and windows, vehicles, and expect wind damage to roofs, side, and trees down there. So again, that's a nasty hail situation. That purple indicative of hail over 2 inches in diameter here over the last little bit. And that's right near the interstate. So that's definitely a concern there. You can kind of see where we're at with this. A little bit to the south and west of Satellite Beach right now there in Brevard County. So again, a nasty situation for those folks. Trying to offer some new information here behind the scenes. So just bear with me as we continue to give you guys the latest to protect you, your friends, and your family. We're now being told there's been a report there of hail to 3/4 of an inch in diameter there near the intersection of Addison Drive and Stadium Parkway. So again, our radar is showing much heavier of a hail threat there, much larger in size of that concern. So again, not used to talking about hail around here too much, so I'm apologizing a little for you guys here if I kind of get my wording a little bit twisted, because we're not really talking about hail much. I mean, we're talking about the larger size. You see the new warning to the south, but that's something that we're not accustomed to doing. Maybe this time of year is when it can peak that potential, but it didn't always happen like this, and this threat is really coming into fruition. An unusual threat here, to say the least. Let's go over to this camera now. This might be showing the hail live, actually. Let's see. This is going to be I-95 at mile marker 183. I know we don't actually have any camera that we can go live to in Georgia, but we should have some in Florida. I saw a still image. It's not coming up at the moment now, but it was showing something a second ago with a still image. It looked like snow out there. I might have to just take that image, and if we can't get the live view off of that camera, I might just have to take that image and show it to you guys here on the screen. So bear with me here. Yeah, that image is probably worth just go on here and showing separately. So again, we'll do that in short order here, so bear with me. It's a one-man band, so I'm having to punch the buttons while I talk, but we don't have the live view. But I suspect here, just based on how it looks like it's accumulating, the really light view overall, how white things are there with this camera shot. It's really interesting to see. So let's go ahead. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger here so it kind of is a little bit easier for you guys to see. And then I need to just go ahead and as we just got a new local warning, so bear with me here, folks. Bear with me. We just got a new local warning I need to alert you guys to. So I'll do that here in just a second. But real quick, this area thing here that we're going to be getting to will be for Nassau, Camden, and Charleston until 4. Considerable hail threat. But this other storm outside the area here, this is our traffic camera. You can just see here, look at that. It looks like we had some areas there of hail maybe accumulate. I can't guarantee it, but that's what it looks like there toward parts of Brevard County. So could expect that across portions of our area later on. We'll just have to wait and see. But let's go ahead and zoom back out here. We have that, but we have our new local warning. Now they dropped it. Looks like it's a 3:30 anyway. That other warning, by the way, it seems like they're not reissuing for the time being in toward our area up to the north. But they're saying this storm here could be a considerable damage producer. They're saying the reasoning for this warning is even though we didn't have one in play, a spotter actually has estimated golf ball size hail falling in Folkestone. So that's not really what you want to hear. I haven't issued that here after a report. It's just a situation where I guess the radar wasn't hitting that quite right. It's kind of close to the radar site. That could be an issue sometimes. So our algorithms might not be picking up on it quite perfectly in toward that spot. So again, this storm now could be producing golf ball size hail here as we're getting closer toward the south and east, but it's already produced it around Folkestone. So again, a dangerous situation here. Considerable damage possible from this observed hail storm here in that area. So people and animals outdoors will be injured. Expect hail damage to roof side and windows and vehicles there, and wind damage to roof side and trees. So seek shelter now inside a sturdy structure and stay away from windows, as this is producing large hail here as we're right there on that Florida-Georgia line. So Again, nasty situation. It looks like there 3:31 is where this local storm report was sent out anyway. I know they issued a warning here by that time, a report coming in just before that, I would think, but talking about homeland there, 2 miles east northeast. We had multiple hail sizes, but the largest estimated to be golf balls. So again, not right in Folkestone, and they clarified that with the LSR, the local storm report. I know in the actual warning they just wanted to get that out real quick and said Folkestone, which, I mean, you could say it's also located more over homeland, once they said that too, but again, nasty situation indoor that region. So again, we're at 3:33 right now. We had the one warning go away for Glynn County, but a significant weather advisory. They're going to keep watching it. Nickel-sized hail gusts 50 to 55 miles an hour. A possibility up there. This storm here, we have a situation where we could now have hail up toward golf ball size in the future. We already had that reported here as this warning was coming on out, meaning it could cause considerable damage here as we're looking toward northern Nassau, southwestern Camden, and east central Charlton counties. So just really got to be careful. You do not want to be around those windows. Stay away from windows because those windows could start to get busted on out here, I mean, in some circumstances. So you do not want to be in that type of scenario for sure. Again, let's see what else we have for you guys right now at this 3:34 hour. We'll go ahead and zoom on out to that broad perspective, even a little bit further. I mean, you can see what's going on here. You can see what's going on here on this view. We have several warnings in play. Palm Beach County now a warning, a storm located near Jupiter, moving east at 10 miles an hour there. We also have this storm around Palm Bay. This is where we could have the hail that's even a little bit larger based on indications. It's right near the radar there right now, though. New warning for portions of Brevard until 4:15, located over West Melbourne or near the Camp Holly Fish Camp, moving southeast at 15 miles an hour. Going up toward the north right now. This storm on the radar doesn't say hail that big, but there was a report of golf ball sized hail with this storm, golf ball sized hail. So again, our hail tracker not showing a whole bunch at this moment. It said a little bit more earlier on, right when we had that report come out actually, but right now it's not showing as much. But since we're kind of in an odd spot on the radar here, or not that far away from it, maybe it's getting something that's kind of contaminating it. This viewpoint here, I mean, with the algorithms at least, because on this it actually shows as if this hail should be bigger. It's just the algorithms aren't picking up on it, which is a computer system. So that's why you have to have the human eye here sometimes, folks, because this would indicate here and suggest a bigger hail than what our radar products are trying to. So this black and purple here would indicate hail over and into possibilities. So again, you just got to be inside and away from windows right now here in the ward parts of this area. This is in areas there of Charlton County where the worst of this is right now. So again, let's go to our covered map just to remind you of what we're talking. We're talking about portions of Charlton as well as Camden and Nassau here under this warning. Just north there of Duval until about, looks like a 4 o'clock or so is the set expiration on this for now. So we'll see how it holds together. They didn't issue it for too long because radar wasn't really showing it, so maybe it was just a freak event to get a little bit of that to golf ball. Most of it was less than that, but we'll find out. I mean, that is considered a golf ball size hail report, obviously. So hopefully we didn't have any damage out there, though. But we'll keep watching. We'll keep tracking. Again, let's go ahead and zoom back on out a little bit. You don't see anything on Stark right now. We do see a little bit of, looks like development in southern Baker County. We'll have to watch that. I know some of these areas could be precursors to more serious threats here, like what we're seeing there in Baker. We'll watch, we'll track, but this storm here toward Lake County is actually pretty nasty near Lake Catherine now. Moving toward Orange City and Deltona, that could be hail there over an inch in diameter, plus that wind potential, which could kind of drive that hail into some windows if it gets big enough. It's probably not quite big enough yet, but still, this storm here near Melbourne, it could be big enough, and this is up really nasty on the Jacksonville radar, which is impressive and not in a good way. It's right over the Melbourne radar, though, right now, right over the interstate, right over I-95. So, again, just continuing to watch the situation. Some strong winds there, too, it looks like. I mean, we could be getting a little bit of contamination, but they're probably taking a nasty hit there. I wonder if even they might be on a spot. I don't know exactly where the weather service is, but I almost wonder if they kind of gave operations here off to a different office, a backup office here with a storm set up like this over them, because we just got a gust of 60 there from an off-duty National Weather Service employee with tree branches down at the intersection there. It looks like a Potomac Drive with another road there. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that one, so I'm not going to pronounce that here on the air. But again, we're just going to continue to watch things. We're just going to continue to track things. I know we're telling us here in the chat right now. They're telling us here in the chat right now that the storm in the Folkestone vicinity is weakening, so they're going to decrease the hail size with the next warning update. So that's some good news, and that's the only warning we have right now in our area. So we'll just keep watching things. So I may keep a radar stream going, though, even if I wrap it up. If we don't have any local warnings, I may keep the radar stream going for our other concerns that we have. We even have a storm. That's interesting. They're way to the north here. This is west of Dawson. It isn't within our area, though. It is within our area. They're north of Cuthbert. That's looking like it could be producing a little bit of hail in the Tallahassee Weather Service area. We have these storms with some advisory action on them, or at least have had that. And we have a tornado threat out toward the west today, too. So that's interesting to keep track of. Here's our system. We try to zoom that back on out a little bit. So again, we'll watch that out toward the Lone Star State, Longhorn State, whatever you want to call it. We'll just keep paying attention there. But again, let's see, we're getting a report of at least quarter-size hail toward Melbourne at the Weather Service. Began the event at 3:22, dime to penny, but then quarter-size here just a couple minutes ago. So again, it's not a tornado situation, so they might have not actually kind of evacuated their decks per se, but still a nasty situation down there at about 3:40 now. We're seeing that right over a radar site, right over Melbourne there in portions of central Florida. So we're continuing to effort the latest information on in here. They're continuing to warn in the north here. So just bear with me, bear with it. We're going to go ahead and zoom back on out. You can see here this warning out. They're continuing it as this the base severe warning, 60 and quarter-size hail now. The more likely threats there toward Charlton County. So that's kind of the storyline there. That's still 4 o'clock. So for another 20 minutes or so, got to keep watching that potential in that area. So again, that's what we're doing here. It's a small warning, but I know it doesn't change the yellow one here, but that's just the way it goes. With once they issue it out, it's not going to necessarily change back probably to a base on this system. But we'll keep watching. We'll keep tracking. I know watching all sorts of different things here in the Weather Center. Nothing really around Stark though right now. That's just some good news, but we're just going to keep giving you guys the very latest information to protect you, protect your friends, protect your family here. Just going ahead and seeing what else we might have here. Some of our different systems. I'm switching some radar around. So again, we're watching this here on our more composite type view. I know it's a blend of everything on base reflectivity, but again, it's not going to do quite as good of a job sometimes in the live motion of things as our radars that are individualized and are just kind of going off the current products coming in. They're not putting everything together, which can help because it can give us a better raw look at things as they're happening towards your neighborhoods. So again, that's what we're kind of done with right now. Nassau, Camden, and Charlton, but very small portions of each under this warning, but could still have quarter-size hail here. That's a possibility right there. Just east, it looks like of State Route 252, Georgia 252. So we're just going to have to keep monitoring that there. Again, that's just in the north part of Charlton County for the time being. So again, I just have to keep looking at all of our different scans. They're always important to give us a good look at things here in the Weather Center. Make sure you guys know exactly what is happening there. And really how to take action, how to handle it. I mean, that's very important. I mean, you do not want to be in a situation where you are unsure of what to do. So I know in these hail situations, you just want to protect yourself first off. I mean, that's the first and foremost thing that you should do. We're being told they're being pounded by quarter-size hail at the office in Melbourne now, which is interesting because I know sometimes in these events, radar looks like really situations occurring here or occurring there that could be a little bit bigger in the hail side, and instead you just have a lot of smaller hail, which could still be damaging in nature, could be problematic. So that's something we didn't see as much of here the last couple of days at times, but sometimes radar could see a bunch of hail, but it's actually just a bunch of smaller hail. That may be the case there toward Melbourne. We'll see if we get bigger sizes reported. There may be some in there a little bit bigger than quarter, but they're being pounded is what they're saying. The Weather Service meteorologist there is saying they're being just pounded by the quarters there, quarter-size hail in toward Melbourne. So again, that's the storyline right now. Enhanced risk of 3 out of 5 there. The latest update just coming on in. You see areas toward the south and east that'll be under a threat here a little bit later on. But right now, they're really getting it around Melbourne. Again, a nasty situation for those folks there in Brevard County. This storm here, nasty as well. Into parts of Lake County, portions of Seminole, Volusia, also under that warning. You have a storm in Marion starting to develop. We'll have to watch it. A storm to the north up into parts of Charlton has a warning. The one toward Glynn doesn't right now, but we still got to watch it. It had a big concern on it earlier on. I mean, you see how it fell apart for the time being, but can't let our guard down with that. And then I know the risk areas here, they did just change the risk some, but considering what we've already had happen to the north, they have expanded that slight risk now into southeast Georgia. So that's where that is centered here in terms of that slight risk really up on this board. And then we have the enhanced risk there toward the south. So again, I'll zoom out a little bit. You can see there's a little bit of a tornado risk now down to the south. Southern areas, we could see something, you never know. But the hail risk is the biggest concern. And then we have a wind risk here in play as well. So significant hail possible. Your wind risk not so much, but significant hail, I mean, possible now all the way into southeastern Georgia. According to this latest update, we're already starting to see that come to fruition now. So unfortunately, there toward portions of Wayne County, there was the reports just outside of our area, not necessarily getting reports like that in our area as we were looking there toward some other spots. I mean, when I say that, it's a little bit misleading because we're talking about that report there was at least golf ball, but again, it started to crack some windshields, so you started to talk about significant, and this other one was golf ball, but it seemed like that was the biggest, and I don't think the radar was supporting as much. So, and the radar sometimes can be really helpful, really good, but it's not going to be perfect because both storms producing golf ball, but this one definitely would have shown us that there was a lesser chance of that happening here in general, but we talked about it before it was doing that. So significant weather advisory now for portions of Nassau, Charlton till 4:30, so they may be ready to hopefully drop this warning here pretty soon. That'd be some good news, but it may actually be in, okay, as for the other areas in the south that are getting going very quickly actually. So that other warning, they're probably about to drop it though, but it's because these other storms are taking the energy away, and those could end up becoming a problem here toward Hilliard and toward areas there already along US 1 toward the north there. So again, just got to keep watching that here. We're just going to keep tracking it for you here in the Weather Center this time around. Glynn County looks like it's trying to rev back up a little bit, so I may get another warning here pretty soon, unfortunately, as we're looking toward Glynn County. So they're seeing the storms south of folks and definitely are starting to intensify here. A significant weather advisory covering that for now, but they may have to go see for thunderstorm warning if they just continue to show their maturity. See that storm in Baker already from 1 or 2 scans went from nothing there to something a little more significant. And then as we go ahead and try to zoom back on how that storm, it looks like in central Florida now, it may be sun rotation. We're looking really high up on that, but definitely a nasty storm there in toward that area. So again, a lot of storms that are by themselves able to take advantage of the hail apt atmosphere here. So again, let's go ahead and go back on to this broad view. We have several warnings, but only one right now in the covered area. That's that warning. It was considerable, but now a base severe thunderstorm warning reports into Nassau, Camden, and Charlton there until about 4 o'clock. So we're watching the storms to the south. They now start to get going here. This storm in Baker County getting going pretty quick. It's showing better even on our more live scans because within 3 minutes things can change here, as we're starting to see in this setup here today. So again, you can see here we're just looking at our different views. That storm in Glynn County don't think it's done quite yet, so we got to keep watching it there. Southeast side of Thalman there. We're just going to have to keep monitoring all these different scans. See if that needs a new warning here pretty soon. Go ahead and zoom back on out. Again, these storms here in northwestern Nassau and a little bit into where Charleston area, maybe south side of Folkestone. Could be producing hail. It could be getting closer to an inch already. We'll see. Our system here is starting to indicate that potential. So again, we'll just have to keep looking here as you have the storm to the north. That storm to the north, they can go and cancel that warning. It's because that storm to the north is no longer going to be producing hail or wind damage. They might just be keeping it just to make sure it doesn't produce wind to the surface for a second as it collapses. But again, the area to the south now is the bigger focal point. So again, we're still going to keep watching things. So we technically still have that one warning, but it's not in play here really. To the south is where we could get warnings here in short order though. So we'll be watching, we'll be tracking here in the weather center. So we're just going to keep monitoring these situations here. I just kind of want to see what's going on with our updates. They are now canceling that out. So that warning no longer in effect. No formal warnings for now. We still got to pay attention. Even in southeast Georgia here, I know our focal point is more toward Florida, as we've alluded to here today, though. We're going to be watching, we're going to be tracking things. We're going to get a double box radar up for the time being, at least. But again, there's a lot going on here. We're going between a couple of different systems, so bear with me here. I'm going to try to go more that Florida view on the one, and then watch this storm accident is starting to enter toward Nassau, because I'm going to have to be back here pretty soon with more weather information. So again, I just got to bear that in mind here. Just got to keep that in mind. We might be back here in pretty short order. So keep it tuned to Clouds Weather. We'll keep you guys up to date as we continue to monitor the progress of storms here on this Wednesday afternoon. We'll come back on if and when necessary.